Hello again and thanks for tuning in. After the events of the Trump-Zelenskyy debacle, which happened in the Oval Office, the European leaders decided to meet today for a bit of a shindig of their own, for a nice dinner and a meet-up in their nice suits, etc. And it does seem like they were all there. There was all of the leaders, the General Secretary of Nato was there, and a lot of European leaders were there. And again, there was Mr. Starmer greeting everyone as they come in, playing the bridge man, or what he thinks is the bridge man again. One of the most important things to come out of that meeting was from the Secretary General of NATO, Mr. Mark Rutte. He had 3 points, and he put these points out on X. But his 3 points for today were, point 1, support Ukraine today. Everyone in Europe will need to give more. Point 2, we all want a peace deal and it has to last. Europe is really stepping up here. Point 3, to keep NATO strong, Europe will need to increase defence spending. Now, I find it quite funny looking at these points here. First of all, yeah, we support Ukraine. Russia should not have invaded Ukraine. Europe's already given quite a lot, and I'm sure will continue to give more for the defence of Ukraine. But, without a doubt, Russia should not have invaded Ukraine. And calling for peace now is not in opposition to that point. There's no way that Ukraine is going to win this war. It's not a war that can be won. It's simply attrition. People will die on both sides till there's a peace deal. And eventually there will be a peace deal. Then everyone that's died, what did they die for? What was the reason? 1 million dead? Tens of thousands of people dying every month? Mr. Rutte said, we all want a peace deal and it has to last. Europe is really stepping up here. Well, Europe may be really stepping up there. I'm not really sure what that means. And we all want a peace deal and it has to last. But in order to do that, you need America there. They're the only ones that can guarantee peace, longer lasting peace. Europe can't do that. And he did say, number 3, which is a point I agree with, to keep NATO strong, Europe will need to increase defence spending. I think that's 100% correct. Europe, and particularly the UK, because that's the place I care about the most, we need to increase our defence capabilities. I don't think 2.5% is enough, but it's a start. And, looking after the borders and keeping everything secure, as this whole war shown, we are woefully understaffed in the military, undersupplied, and everything else. Now, it was quite funny that Zelenskyy was being paraded around today like a rock star. I did notice him smiling while our government hands over another, was it 1.6 billion? Forgetting about the economics of that. Yes, they were confiscated money from the Russians, if you like. I'm not sure how that looks to the rest of the world who wants to be investing money in the UK, but they've decided to do that. And so, again, the Russia invasion was wrong. It's very sad for Ukraine and their people, but Zelenskyy made a very bad error the other day with Trump. Zelenskyy, of all people there, needs Trump to be on his side in order to help his people. After that meeting, I was actually unsure whether he did want peace. It was a very odd situation. I'm not sure whether he wants a ceasefire. I think what Zelenskyy may want, he may want to continue this war. Because it doesn't look like he's trying to get peace. It looks like he's trying to get money. And of course he will need money to continue the war. But why did he have to create that whole thing in the Oval Office? I have no idea. And of course we have Starmer playing Churchill, Euro leaders sitting round a table eating in luxury while the soldiers are dying, and a lot of talk. I do see here that Starmer is loving his role. But what role is that? He's not doing very well in the UK at the minute. People are annoyed with Labour. We've got taxes, the economy, let alone free speech issues. He's trying to get over the winter fuel payment. We've got farmers protesting. Businesses are unhappy. We're facing a blunt, quick, nasty, hard recession coming up, and nobody knows how that's going to play out. Everybody's worried, but it seems like Starmer here is attempting to add some value by playing the supreme diplomat. And I don't think, well, he probably does know that he has no cards to play in this game. We don't have a military and we have no money. It's obvious to everybody that looks at this that Zelenskyy has to go back to Trump and make things right. It's funny also that during the time that this meeting was going on, I think America got a little bit annoyed. It appears like Zelenskyy flipped up the table and walked out of that meeting, or however you want to put it, and now he's cozying up to EU leaders and they're treating him like a rock star. This is insulting to America. And so at the same time as this meeting was going on, Marco Rubio released a very, very succinct message. He details everything everybody needed to know in a couple of minutes, saying Zelenskyy was out of order. He shouldn't have done what he did. We need to bring the Russians round the table. This needs to be a diplomatic solution. We've got to bring Russia and Ukraine and everyone round the table. He was the only person here talking any sense. And I'll put a clip of that on now.
Contacts with him, though. Plenty. I mean, he met, in the last 10 days, he's met with the Secretary of Commerce. He spoke to the President on the phone, met with the Secretary of Commerce, met with me, met with the Vice President, met with our special envoy, and then was invited and came over on, he wanted to come over on Friday to sign this commercial deal. It didn't happen. So there's been plenty of contact with them. I've talked to the foreign minister several times, not since then. And we'll see moving forward. I think the last line in the President's Truth Social post is the one to focus in on, and that is, will we be ready to re-engage when they're ready to make peace, which is clearly what the President's goal is here. He's trying to get Russia to the table to see if there's a way to bring about an end to this conflict. That's his goal. That's his only goal. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. And that is the point the President has made. And we have to do whatever we can to try to bring them to the table to see if it's even possible. I'm not promising you it's possible. I'm not telling you it's 90% likely. I'm saying it's 0% likely if we don't get them to a negotiating table. And the sooner everyone grows up around here and figures out that this is a bad war that's heading in a bad direction with death and destruction and all kinds of dangers surrounding it that could spiral into a broader conflict, the sooner people grow up and realize that, I think the more progress we're going to be able to make.
What the European leaders think they are doing is very strange here. They've had 3 years to do this, 1 million dead over. Nobody knows how many's dead. Yes, Russia should not have invaded, of course. But that does not mean putting men and women from a generation into the meat grinder. There was actually talk this afternoon on X of senators and congressmen from America talking about just leaving Europe altogether. It's just becoming a pain for them all over. And Europe today, by greeting Zelenskyy and having the big dinner and smiling and all of that, it was a little bit disrespectful, and you can understand that. Are some of the American congressmen and senators attempting to play this so they have a far less militaristic role in Europe? I don't know. But I do know that I think the European leaders have severely misjudged the situation, along with all of the media. And we all need to get America back on side quickly. It's kind of hard to believe these people are our leaders. They make such mistakes. Thanks very much for your time.